church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real. Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. What's up?
Not much, just chilling. You know how we do it.
Yeah.
We're just chilling. I'm sipping on, actually, coffee today.
All right. Coffee.
Coffee.
With a straw.
Definitely with a straw.
Okay.
Well, you know what they say, that coffee turns your teeth colors.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that because I be needing to pick me up. So I got to find something else to pick me up. And it won't be that Red Bull.
Yeah, that stuff.
You know what's in Red Bull?
No, I don't. I really don't. I've used it a few times.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have you encountered cow semen?
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah.
Well, yes. That's what Turine comes from. I guess the residue, the scrotum of a bull scrotum or something.
Oh, okay. The residue from the scrotum.
I said the residue. I'm just trying to be.
Okay, the residue.
I'm just trying to be nice.
The ball sweat.
The balls. Listen,
Jeez.
And guess what? It's supposed to be like a delicatessen too, because people they out here eating meatballs. That's what they.
Yeah. They're
Oyster.
called the Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you name it that? Rocky Mountain oysters.
Well, I think they just call them mountain, but I threw in the Rocky part because I know they serve them in some places.
And that's why I went with it. I thought that was legit. That sounded about right. That sounded like that's the way to be on the. That's how to be on the menu. I think so. I think it's written that way. Mm-hmm. Ew, who want that? Let me get some balls. Let me get some bull balls, please.
You know what? I've seen them for sale in specialty markets.
How much?
Ballpark. Now I would say it was. I seen a pack. It might have been maybe 3 in the pack.
3 balls in the pack.
They're big.
Is that like Gabriel's version? How do you get 3?
It was. I don't know. Maybe they just threw the extra one. I don't know what was going on. But it was like. I want to say maybe they're like $11 for maybe. It probably was about maybe a pound and a half. I guess. It like
a pound.
I'm eyeballing it, you know.
A pound and a half of balls. We're weighing balls. Yeah. I wonder how much like the human balls. You know those guys they're just in the water.
Jesus.
That is a mess.
It's how much it depends how much they owe the mafia, I guess.
All right, we're gonna weigh these mugs.
Your balls are in a jar.
That's
like a ball hit.
That is a mess. Yeah. I ain't fooling with Red Bull though. And I'm wondering, is that why they call it Red Bull? Because of the bull balls.
Well, maybe now that we have that, now we have that letter. Information and reference. I didn't know why they called it that. To be honest with you, I just thought it was this.
Just an energy drink, and we
you charged up, bulls charged up. You know.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
And it's red because if you have red, they charge at you.
You know, Red Bull. You know, but
okay.
I don't know. It could have a deeper meaning. You know, I mean, that's like you know, people will say like, "What is udder cream made out of?" You know, and this has nothing to do with
a cow.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with the udders.
It's this cream for udders. Is what udder cream is, and so they start selling it to people. And so.
All right, taurine, Taurine, or 2 amino fake acids. That's what I'm saying. They're not the real amino acids. That's what this says. It's an organic compound that is widely distributed in animal tissue. Let's see. It is a major constituent of bowel and can be found in the large intestines and accounts for up to 0.1 for total human body weight. Okay, they're just telling you what it is. But anyway, that's supposed to be contained in that Red Bull, and I went to go get it, and I looked at the ingredients, and I needed to see what it was, and that's how I found out by reading. I learned that reading Rainbow. It's like, you got to read everything. So, nope, I'm not trying that. And I've been like so exhausted lately, just running ragged. I'm trying to kind of like slow down. And it's affecting me. Hey, how y'all doing over there?
Yeah.
They beeping the horn. I didn't know people still blew the horn. Do people still like pull up to houses and like blow the horn? I think that's disrespectful. What do you think?
It's probably more effective to text people down but yeah.
But what about before texting?
I mean, before it depends on the purpose and who you in whose house you belong. Like, it's certain people where you know.
Elderly people still blow.
Yeah.
And you let it go.
Well, yeah, but because they're like, I ain't getting out the car. To go knock at your door to tell you to come out.
What if you're not expecting them, and they blow the horn?
Just random people blowing
just
the horn.
Just pull up. Listen, that happened to me. That happened. I'm not exaggerating. I can't make this stuff up. Somebody blowing the horn outside my house, and I said, now, first of all, who is at my house blowing the horn? They know better. Only one person that I know that blows the horn. He's an older person, and I guess he just ain't got it yet. Like, hello, sir, you're waking everybody up. Don't matter what time of day it is, just beeping the horn. And it's a Lincoln horn, so it's like, that. Yeah, I'm like, man. Anyway, this guy pulls up, and he blows the horn. Don't know him. So I'm like, can I help you? And I didn't go all the way out. I'm looking like, first of all, that's not what we do here. I was like, and I told him, don't be blowing the horn out here. I don't even know you.
Yeah.
But I didn't say I didn't know you. I just said, don't blow your horn. And then he asked me, I said, can I help you? I thought he was at the wrong house. He asked me if I wanted to buy some meat. Now, here's the thing. First of all, you come into somebody's house that you don't know. Okay. Blowing the horn. And you selling something. Sound like I will not be purchasing anything. And I said, no, I'm not interested in buying meat. She said, we're vegan. That's what she made him feel real bad. And then he said, he didn't even let me answer. He said, well, you can write me a post-dated check. Sir, I don't even know you.
Yeah. So last thing I'm giving you is my check.
Right.
Yeah. For
some meat that I didn't ask you for. So you just randomly just pull up folks' driveway and just beep, beep, hey, I got some meat here. You can write me a post.
Did you check it out?
I did not, because I was annoyed because he blew the horn. And then listen to this. He didn't even show me, because then he tells me, yeah, I'm disabled. If you want to look at it, you could come and look at it. Okay. All of this is wrong.
Sound like kidnapping.
Don't it?
Like, what happened to her? Neighbors reported hearing the horn blow, and she came outside, so obviously they thought it was someone she knew, and then she's been missing for 10 days now.
Right. That was like so weird. So you come to my house, I don't know you. You blow the horn, I don't know you. You can't even show me your product that you're calling yourself selling, because you said you're disabled.
Yeah.
What else was it? It was all... Don't come back. How about that?
Was this the first time that you ever got solicit meat sales?
This was the very first time, and I believe it's the last.
I remember it happened to me. I was at this one market. This market don't exist anymore, and I was walking. I can't remember. I was walking in. Yeah, I was walking in, and a dude came by and was like, "Hey, you want to buy some shrimp from me, right?" And I was, and the thing was that he had stole this shrimp. It was obvious he stole it. But the other thing was, I was just like, I started thinking, well, I don't really know how long he's had that shrimp.
Yeah, well, that's because but you cook though. So now, so you out here like Bubba Gump.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how long he's had it. I'm not buying that shrimp. You know what I mean?
So does it matters?
Well, yeah. If it's,
how do you know what's old shrimp?
Okay.
Besides the frostbite of a bagged shrimp.
Oh, you talking about if it's bagged up?
No. Okay, so fresh shrimp. So tell me how to look for fresh shrimp.
Okay. What I can tell you is that what I've noticed sometimes, you ever come across you ever have a shrimp and you're like, man, that shrimp seems kind of like
gummy?
Mushy. Like, yeah.
Oh, mushy.
Gummy. Like, I look at that as being, and I could be wrong.
No, you could be right, because with that shrimp fried rice.
But I look at that as being like, sometimes it's like the shrimp may be older. Now, it may not be the fault of the person who prepared it because they don't, they don't
Right.
know. They ain't out there catching it. But if you go to like a fresh market or something like that, like you can
So if
kind
it's
of look
mushy,
and see.
you can tell it's
and
old.
then smell is always one thing. Like I went to one of those markets once where you get like the whole shrimp, like everything, like the parts I don't want, like the long whiskered, the stuff that make you think like if you saw it in your house, you would be jumping on a table because you'd be like, what's that on the floor? You know what I mean?
Gosh.
Like all those extra parts
with the eyes.
Yeah, like I don't want all that. Just
I'll probably be a vegan by the end of
I
this
barely
show.
want the tails. You know what I mean? I want the tails. But in that case, smell and like firmness to touch would be an indicator.
So if it's firm,
and then
it's
the place
fresh.
you go to, like how quickly they get rid of stuff like that.
But how do you know? Like you said, you asked $1 million question. How do I know how long he's had that shrimp? How do you know?
Well, it's this one place in Columbus I go and I would buy it, right?
Okay.
And they had a pretty quick turnover with stuff. So just the volume of how they would have their customers, and they had it was like a fish market where inside a store you grab the ticket and they like cut it up right there on the scene and everything like that.
Okay.
So I've never had a bad fish experience with this place. Saraga. But
Oh, okay. So that seems to be a good place, huh?
yeah, but it's in Columbus.
So you got to drive to Columbus.
Well,
wait. Is it like like?
It's an international food market, so you can get stuff from like everywhere. It's really
So it's like a food flea market.
No, it's like a supermarket.
Okay.
But it's like a super duper market because it's like first of all,
Wait, what's the name of it again?
it's called Saraga, and like
Field trip.
Yeah, it would really be a field trip for a foodie, because it's like literally you'll have people working in this store that you'll have a conversation with, and it's like you went to their country. You know what I mean? Because no one's really speaking English all that good,
And they're selling their products.
I mean, it's stuff from all over.
Listen, I went to I went to an Italian restaurant, and anybody that knows me knows that I'm commercial. So, which means if I see it, this is the way it's supposed to be. So what I do, I go to this Italian restaurant, and when I go to this Italian restaurant, guess who my waiter is?
Who's your waiter?
She was a Chinese lady.
She was a Chinese
at an Italian restaurant. So my mind, I had to train my mind and say okay, and then I order my food. And when you go to certain restaurants, you get those you get your bread and all that. And I'm not a big bread eater. However, why you just give me two? Now, I was just there, and she wasn't there the day before. I went, because I went the day before, to know that I was just there. To say, okay, you didn't have your quota. You know what I'm saying? She didn't know. Anyway, she gives me two, so I asked for more. And the bread, I think she heated it up, and it was like brick hard.
Where were you? Okay, were you at a?
I was at an Italian restaurant,
like a mom and pop.
I was at Springfield Grill. Now you done made me say it.
Come on, man.
I was at Springfield Grill. Let me tell you, here's where my issue is at. It's a means to my madness. Here's my issue. Okay, I'm at an Italian place, and no, I'm not trying to discriminate. I'm not, but when I go to an Italian spot, I don't want to see a Chinese person. When I go to a Chinese restaurant and I see Leroy in the back, even though, he could be a chef, but my mind is saying, Leroy, you're supposed to be frying chicken, not shrimp fried rice. You know what I'm saying? I need to see Chinese people doing it. I'm telling you, it's the way I see it and envision it. I'm going to your country. I want the entire experience. So this lady, she bring me these hard muffins, and they were so hard. And so I'm telling her, I said, these are hard. I need different ones. Mind you, I frequent this place all the time. Yeah. I'm at the Springfield Grill.
And that's a pretty, nice place. That's a place where you should get your bread fresh.
Right.
You shouldn't have a...
She heated it up, but wait a minute. She is arguing with me
over bread
to tell me, no, it's okay. No, it is not okay. I'm not getting no hair products. I'm not getting none of your stuff, ma'am. Please stop. She going back and forth. So listen, now mind you, I was there the day before. I was there the week before. I never had an issue, but now y'all want to give me this Chinese lady, and she want to argue with me and tell me these muffins is okay. So I said, I want to speak to your manager. So she's like, well, the manager, I want to speak to the manager. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm having a hard time, communicating with you anyway. And I was like, maybe she just don't know, or maybe they just like kind of rude, because I just feel like, y'all already know I'm a Democrat, but on this part right here, my boy, your boy, everybody's boy. What am I about to say? Listen, at that moment when this lady is arguing with me over some corn muffins, okay, I felt like the city president. I was like this. See, that's why. Now you argue with me. I didn't say that to her. This lady, you argue with me over some muffins. I was here yesterday, and all I wanted is some muffins. You gave me 2. 1 muffin and 1 big clump of bread, whatever, like Italian bread or something. Yeah. Well, before they gave me 2 muffins and the clump of bread. Now, today I wanted some muffins. Like I said, I'm not a big bread eater. But she tell me, she pretty much like, you eat that. She said, that's fine. Nothing's wrong with that. I said, yes, it is. It's hard. So I knocked on it. I said, it's hard. No, it's fine. I said, is this really happening? So I was like, I want to speak to the manager. Manager comes over and he looks, boom. He's like, I said, feel that. He's like, oh, this is hard. He's like, what did you do? Put it in the microwave. And she said, yes. You gave me extra. So you told me it's not fresh, clearly. So anyway, he comes back and he gives me what I need. And I'm happy. And then he realized, oh, yeah, they come all the time. So it's like, okay, this is the same.
Just give her bread.
Just that's all she wanted is her bread.
Yeah, when you a regular and then you get some new service, you always be kind of like, I deserve, even if they okay, you be like, I deserve better because I'm a regular. You know what I mean? Like you should be you should be calling me by my first name.
And listen,
my last name.
They called the person by they pretty much called the person by their name, and then listen, after that, everything was fine. Not for me, but for them. Like, they got their regular stuff.
Well, you was already, your whole thing was blown.
It was blown. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I wanted the whole Italian experience. That's why I came back. And I just felt like, I said, now, am I being prejudiced?
Well, I don't really associate corn muffins with Italian cuisine, though.
Well, they only had the one. Right. They had Italian bread. But corn muffin, I should be at a mom and pop spot, a soul food restaurant.
You was in the wrong place.
I was at the wrong spot for what I was looking for, but I can't even remember her name. But it was like a different name too. But I guess I
haven't been there in a long time.
But what they do, I found out because Tara, my friend Tara and Anna, love them to pieces. They told me they pick a name when they come over and become a citizen of America.
Oh yeah,
they pick a name. Oh, because I said, Tara, how's your name, Tara? I even met one at the a Japanese place, and her name is Melanie. I was like, you like that name, huh? She's like, I did. So they change their name. They choose it. They kind of they adapt to the American way.
Which is almost a shame, because if they had, it just seems like if they just use like their native name, then it would be better.
It probably would.
Just in all ways. Like I hate the fact that people feel like
they have to change.
Yeah. Especially like this is a place where we don't have a national language. You know what I mean? So
we did.
Well, no, we never.
We never had English.
It's never been deemed a national.
Educate
language.
Me.
Yeah, we don't have like English is the business of the day, but there's no like designation like where this is only we speak English, but like we're pretty much open to everybody. Okay,
so I should not be upset when they say press 3 for English.
No, you shouldn't. But you should be upset when you press 3 for English and then somebody you can't communicate with.
That waitress is the one answering the phone. That right. You are absolutely
her
right.
thing was this. Her thing was this. I don't. Her thing was this a thing where like it wasn't. It wasn't up to her. She thought it was fine. The minute you said it wasn't fine,
Customer service. That's why I'm saying.
But
like,
it's their job to kind of talk you out of. It's their job to almost make you think that you should be okay with something.
No.
Well, you know my story about the restaurant.
With the steak,
and they told me to try the other side, and I said, "Really? Okay, nah, I ain't doing none
what
of
is
that."
happening with customer service? And I don't know if it's
And that was a $51 steak.
Mm.
And they said, "Well, you know, did you try the other side?" I was like, "I paid for the whole steak to be done right, you know, not like a portion of it. Like you gonna reduce my cost, you know what I mean?"
Yeah, $25. Is it right? That sounds real abstract, right there.
I was like, "Y'all can keep that." They was like, "Can we do something else for me? You can leave me alone."
Well, here's my thing. You said you could leave because I wouldn't want anything else. Once you send it back, who wants it?
Yeah, I didn't want.
I wouldn't want it either. Once I send it back, it's like, okay, I ain't no telling what you got going on. But I'm wondering if she was really being rude, or is that what they do? Because even like at the hair salons, it's almost like for some unknown reason, I just feel this way. That's why I'm fooled with certain products. I'm like, no, I'm okay. It's almost like they're doing me a favor.
I think this.
Or is it just how they are? I need to find me somebody Chinese. Somebody Chinese calling you.
I think the issue is that.
Chinese, Asian,
I don't
whatever.
even think it's about where the people come from or anything like that. But I think it can be.
I noticed that they're pretty rude.
I think it can be. Some of the issue can be what you endure. You know what I mean? Like what makes you like. There's a period in time where I was in the food business, and I remember being like probably like a lot more callous at that time.
Okay.
About stuff because of like. The daily things that I ran into, you know, and then like sometimes like it's not that you don't recognize niceness or kindness and all those good positive things, but sometimes you'll find yourself like, oh, I gotta recalibrate because I don't want to give somebody else this other experience that was for somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do, and I'm glad you chose that word. Well, it seems like I keep getting it, and I'm like, I'm here paying my money. I'm spending my money. I'm the customer. And guess what? You're not going to treat me rude. And if you feel as though that I'm going to be stealing when I walk in, you want to be all up on my back and following me, guess what? Bye. I'm leaving.
Maybe, you don't really look like a thief, but maybe
Thank you.
Maybe you do though. Maybe you get maybe they
had an in-service on what thieves look like.
Yeah. It was funny. There's a show called Kim's Convenience, and it's about a Canadian Korean family, or Canadian, well, however you would say it, and they have a store. He was running down the profiling on people that he thought would steal and people that wouldn't steal.
Okay,
pretty funny. But the point there to me, I just kind of feel like I've seen some people who are store owners be treated in ways that I thought were like it was not cool. Like where I would be like, whoa, you know, like the customer was clearly out of line.
And then goodbye.
Yeah, I've seen that before. You know what I mean? But I just hate that you had that experience, I guess. But I wouldn't put it on the, you know. Or
you wouldn't put... The experience was with her.
Yeah.
The experience was with her. And I'm going to put it on that person and not the restaurant.
Yeah.
So, look, that's what I choose to do. And I'm just going to say... I'm at an Italian restaurant. Can you not spoil my experience?
Yeah.
Like, I even want the music.
I was at a restaurant that is same type of cuisine, and they had this thing where... Now, I will tell you, I did go late. Right? It was probably like an hour before they closed.
Oh, man!
Which I probably shouldn't have did that. And then I ordered something that was like one of those things where they got to keep coming back to you. And so when they...
What, a platter?
No, like you get it, you get the endless this or you get this or that, right? So they bring a bowl out, and the bowl they bring it like 45 minutes after the fact, and this bowl it has the soup in it, and I'm like, and the soup looks like basically like they just poured out what was left in the edge of the bowl or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, well. And then the lady goes to explain to me that I can switch to something else, blah, 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 this or that. And I said, well, I'm like, no, I'm cool. You can just take it off my bill. And then she goes into this explanation, and I'm like, hey, when I placed the order, you could have told me that it was inconvenient for me to do that. You know, but now that the finished product is out here, you want to defend your choice not to inform the consumer.
Sir, you came in an hour late. We're not going to make a new pot. I'm going to give you what's at the bottom of the pot.
Exactly.
Do you mind?
I mean? Yeah, all that stuff. And so she was like, well, I'm just going to tell. I'm like, hey, you can do whatever you want to. The end result is I'm not paying for it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I ain't saying it in a really in a smart alecky kind of way, but the point is like you all failed to meet the requirement of what you said you could do. So if you couldn't do that, you could have told me that from the beginning.
Okay, and they could have just said, I'm not able to meet your needs.
Yeah.
And leave. Well, they're not going to say that because they want the dollar.
Well.
So how long did you stay over the closing time after closing?
Well, there was a few other customers. It was probably like 15 minutes or so.
Okay, so that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
That wasn't bad because if you close at that time, that means you close your door at that time. Mm-hmm. So they knew it. All right. I still think.
But it was an hour. I got there an hour before they closed. I placed my order like 15 minutes before. Like 15 minutes, like in.
After. Oh, okay. So they have
45. It took them 30 minutes to bring the bowl of soup.
What? How did that happen?
I don't know. But it took them that long.
And you wasn't feeling it?
Nope. Especially when what they gave me. It was like, well, what is this?
Is this a place I've
like a bowl of soup is like, oh yeah, it's a place everybody's gone. Okay,
I probably know it. Go ahead. Yeah. Like I'm like, go ahead.
But that was just it. It was just one of those. It was a big commercial place.
Okay.
You know, but
let's hurry up and get this out the way because I know you want to. What's happening in the movie world?
Man, okay, we talked about and it's been a while. It's been a while, but we was talking about Eddie Murphy making that big deal with Netflix.
Right.
So, do you know that there is a movie that will be coming out pretty soon starring Eddie Murphy on Netflix?
No.
It is a Dolomite story. It's like a biopic of Dolomite. You know who Dolomite is, right?
I know who Dolomite is.
Yeah, and Eddie Murphy will be playing Dolomite, along with a star-studded cast. Wesley Snipes is in it, Mike Epps is in it, like everybody's in it.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, and so, but I did see a preview for it. From what I could tell from how Eddie Murphy is doing the voice of Rudy Ray Moore, who is Dolomite, I hope that part is tighter.
Because you hear Eddie Murphy?
It sounds like he didn't try to it sounds like he didn't try to do a voice.
He just did his
own voice. And that was kind of like one thing I thought that was iconic about Rudy Ray Moore and his Dolomite or him, you know, was that his voice, how he carried stuff. You know what I mean? How it was like if you're not familiar, if you ever listen to Dave Chappelle, if you ever watch Dave Chappelle, the Dave Chappelle show, when he would do time pimps and they would go back in time traveling, how he talked. It was more like Rudy Ray Moore would be, in my opinion. But I think it's a story that hasn't been told. I mean, of course it hasn't been, but it's been a lot of parodies based off of the black exploitation films of the '70s, which Dolomite was a huge part of those films. So it's kind of good to see that history, that sort of thing, be portrayed by all these hilarious comedians that are actually in this show. So when we were talking about the thing, like, I guess they paid him a whole lot of money. I don't know how much you said it was. Was it? I
forget. It's a few shows
like
back.
$100 million or something like that.
It was a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked about the stand-up part of it and how, you know, we feel like they would recruit the money, but it was just like, it seems like I just wanted to bring that to light to show that there seems to be a larger plan for Eddie Murphy at Netflix.
Sounds like it. Now, what's up with Dave Chappelle's? Did you see his
Dave Chappelle Sticks and Stones?
Oh man.
He is.
I'm like, hurry up!
He talked. Man, it was okay. This is the thing.
Okay, wait. What about when he said he was like, yeah, I was missing for he's like a few years and Keenan and Peele did my show.
Yeah. It was there have been some he took shots like he talked about what's your boy? He talked about Michael Jackson's situation.
Yes.
He talked about
what's his name? He had valid points too.
What's his name?
R. Kelly?
R. Kelly. He
that was
talked about
funny.
the R. Kelly situation. But the funniest thing I thought that he talked about on there was the Juicy Smollett. He said, y'all know that French actor, and he was not Jesse Smollett. He was called named.
Oh, that's what he was talking about. You gotta see it. It's hilarious.
Juicy Smollett.
I didn't know what he was talking about. Okay.
Man, oh, that part, that is so funny. And he was like, he remembered like the gay community was kind of mad at the black community, saying that we were not really focusing. Like we weren't as involved or as invested in the situation because he was gay. Mm. And he said, no, we weren't invested in it because we knew it was a lie. Like nothing about that thing sounded right. But it was hilarious. And he does this really comical thing about the LGBTQ
Yes, in the car?
Yeah,
that was funny. He's like, ain't nobody talking to the teens.
But with that all said, though, okay. For example, when I first went on Rotten Tomatoes to see what they rated it. Like after I watched it.
Did you see that? Go ahead, this is your segment.
At one time it was like 17%. Mm-hmm. Today I looked, it was 27%. This is just from the critics. But the fans, it was like 99%.
Right, the fans, right.
It's like,
the fans was over the top.
So what you gotta look at was like, when the people that reviewed that were critics, it was like 11 critics who reviewed it. Like,
and they gave it, low.
Yeah, and then it was like almost 23,000 fans who said it was 99%, certified fresh for them.
So if you actually base your viewership off of Rotten Tomatoes, you wouldn't have went to see it.
Well, the thing is that like you got to look at who. Whenever I think you run into a stand-up comedian, you have to look at the fan base and not the critics' position on it.
He is so intelligent.
Because I think what happened here was that I think the things that he was saying
was factual,
but it put critics in a situation where a lot of people didn't even respond. Now they might have enjoyed it, but they wasn't going to tell nobody either way.
They gonna keep that quiet. Just let it go.
And it just happened. You know what I mean? Let me just stay safe where I'm at.
Hey, let me put this number out here: 330-360-8366. You could call in and kick it with us. Go ahead.
And it was some people who were just like, well, the people who came out saying they didn't like it, you kind of looked at their point. I read their comments and I was like, yeah, nah.
You missed it.
Like you know what? Like you looked at this from whatever group that you're trying to, and he talks about everybody. So from whatever everybody. So from whatever group that he offended of yours or how you felt about that particular issue, you looked at it from that point of view and not the intelligence of the comedy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that was the thing for me, was that like it was some things in there where I will tell you like this, I laughed the whole time. The whole time I laughed from when he starts singing the Prince song to the end. I laughed the whole time.
I was rolling when he sat there. He had that point. He said, "Do I think Michael Jackson did it?" And he said he did, but he was like, "Just imagine." He's like, "Just imagine." He's like, "You got." He said, "You got molesters and pedophiles in your family." He's like, "But if you get to go to school and say I suck,"
or vice versa.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he
Michael
sucked,
Jackson,
sucked
blah,
yeah, that's what he said.
But he said, all we get is uncomfortable Thanksgiving. Which I was
rolling, but it was the truth.
But it was so much that was it was so much that was going on with that whole piece of it. Even when he even talked about the opioid epidemic, he was talking about how like it was like, oh bro. You shot me, bro.
It was funny.
He even talked about how his wife would get mad at him sometimes.
Right.
All the time.
And he talked about Kevin Hart. We can move on. Kevin Hart, let's talk about him real quick. And the accident that he was in, where Dr. Phil says he has the same type of car, so he was going to get his check because he has the lap seat belts. But we all had the lap seat belts back then.
No, say what now again?
Phil, Dr. Phil
Said what now?
said he was going to get his. He has that same car that
Okay.
in a year, so he was going to get his check because of what happened with Kevin Hart. I got to be
What do
honest.
you mean what happened? All right.
Go ahead. No, go. What you got?
right.
What you got on the hot TV?
I think, and I watched. I even watched some ratchet television, just like like TMZ or whatever, just to get their point on it. And like everybody's scared to say what they really know.
Why he wasn't driving?
How we know that?
Because they said he wasn't driving. They said who was driving. They said who was driving. We don't know.
If he wasn't
there.
If he wasn't
he
driving,
was a passenger, and the driver got out all right.
Well, let's break it down then.
Let's go ahead. Let's shop talk.
Why? Okay. Why did you leave the scene of the crime? Or well, not the crime, the accident.
Because you were a celebrity and didn't want everybody there.
What? Are you allowed to do that?
Hey, we got people locally that did that mess.
But I'm just saying.
Hey, I ain't got no ding, 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 ding.
All I'm saying
I need that drum.
All I'm saying is that the guy who witnessed it, because think about it like this. Kevin Hart got out the vehicle. Mm-hmm. Called his people. They actually called. Okay, let's play it back. From how I understood it, the accident happened. Mm-hmm. His people were called. They helped drag him out the car on the driver's side. From how I heard it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, break it down.
And so, from that point, they drive him to his house.
Go ahead.
They drive him to his house. Then an hour later, they call 911, or an hour or so later, they call 911 to come and get him from his house. Why did they call 911?
What do you think? Just guess.
I think there's more ahead. I think there's more going on with this story than what's letting up.
Than what they're saying.
Yeah. And I think the thing is that like this. The 911 was called by a passerby.
And that was a horrible accident.
Yeah.
That car is
But the thing is, it's like, you didn't even call 911 for the other people that was in the car. But you made sure you called your people to get you out. So you, let's say it's the whole gang. It's me, you, Nick, Kim, we all driving somewhere. We get in a car accident. Everybody tore up. Even myself. The first phone call I make, though, is to somebody else.
Live studio audience, come pick me up.
Yeah, live studio audience. You gotta come pick me up.
What about us?
What about you?
Every man for himself.
I'm just saying, that's how I looked at it. I was like, but how? I was like, everybody's like not trying to like associate the fact that he he left. He called other people to help somebody, but nobody else. They pulled him out the car, and then they said, well, everybody else was pent in the car, but you didn't even try to help get him out. It looks shady.
It does. That's suspect.
It looked real shady to me. And then it just seemed like when it was like, well, because they actually showed another picture. I don't even know if it was the same day. But the thing is, they're not saying who the car belongs to.
The car is his.
Oh.
Yeah.
But he wasn't driving.
But he wasn't driving.
To his house.
To his house.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here.
Somebody ain't believing it.
I ain't believing it.
Open it. You just tear the story apart.
I ain't believing it.
Look, you ain't believing it.
I ain't believing it.
It sounds suspect, though.
It sounds real suspect to me. Because I think, like, why would you leave the scene? Why would you leave? Even if your people did come and get you out, why would you leave 3 people that was in your car stranded on the side of the road and you leave? Why would you do that?
It wasn't right. They said he had just a few bruises.
He had like a few. He probably had a few other things too going on. I just think it was more. There's some kind of cover up going on.
Okay. Well, my Ratchet TV happening again.
Oh yeah.
My Real Housewives of Potomac. I am a fan. They're doing their reunion, but I like Married to Medicine. Atlanta. I don't like the LA people. So that's why I haven't been really talking to y'all about that, because I ain't been watching that. I'm like, Real Housewives of Atlanta, they still doing it. You interested?
You know, it's so funny.
What Ratchet TV did you watch?
I just watched TMZ.
Oh, why they gotta be ratchet? That's
like,
the news.
That ain't the news.
That's the news.
It's the current events. I will never label it as news.
Would you label anything as news anymore with these journalists that's out here?
Yeah.
Come on, to who? Which one? Go ahead. Which news outlet? I just got to see this.
News outlet?
I done turned around and crossed my leg. I feel like I need a glass of wine because I can't wait to hear this.
Which outlet would be what I would consider news?
Yes.
I would say usually when I read anything that's like a story that may be in the Washington Post or New York Times, I would consider that news.
Washington Post. What about The View?
The View, that's commentary.
Okay, yeah, and I would agree. I would agree.
So I think what happens a lot, like even on like CNN, sometimes CNN, Fox News or whatever, they'll have these shows, MSNBC, where it's more or less commentary on everything. What they've done is they took the ESPN model for sports and said, we can do this with news and talk about the same issue from all these different angles and all that kind of stuff. When is this really one issue? Is it good? Is what's happening good for the American people? Yes or no? You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. But it's a lot of different speculation because it'll be people speculating like about stuff where why are you even making these speculations when the person's about to come out here and give you a speech and they'll tell you everything you need to know. Versus like, I mean, they try to do it like it's a sport, like it's a sporting event. Well, we think such and such can win. And if you look at this, we believe they can win by 3 touchdowns, or whatever. So
it's all just commentary to you.
Yeah, because once you tell the story's been told. Then they get people to try to sway. Then the rest of that is just trying to sway you to one side or another.
The great debate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's move on to the next hot topic. There is a teenage boy who goes blind after existing on Pringles, white bread, and French fries. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Interesting. Now, here it is. It says, eating a diet of French fries, Pringles, and white bread was enough to make one teenage boy lose his sight, according to the case study published in the medical journal. That's where this was. Now, the scientists from University of Bristol examined the case of the young patient who is an extremely picky eater, led to blindness, and have warned of the dangers of a poor diet. So, we're talking high carbs. Mm-hmm. So, why do you think he went blind?
No carrots.
No vitamin A, no carrots?
No carrots? I don't know yet.
You figure, the alternatives to sugar, I'm wondering if he was a diabetic. And is that what happened?
Possibly, I guess, since you said it like that.
When he first visited the doctor at 14 years old, complaining of being exhausted. But you do have some doctors that they're like, oh, it's okay, just as long as they're eating something. He wasn't taking any medication. He had a normal BMI, body mass index, and height, and he showed no visible signs of malnutrition.
No, then there's some other issue.
His vitamin B levels were low. He was anemic. And that's it. He was just getting vitamin B shots.
And maybe I need to do a little bit more research on this, but this is my thoughts. When you have these
let me say this. 14 years old is when he first came. By the age of 17 till 3 years is when he ended up, having issues with blindness. His point of blindness was at 17 years old. Yep. And he still had a vitamin B12 deficiency. And copper. All that stuff. Wow.
Well, if he had all that, like, why didn't they give him a vitamin?
And they were giving him injections. They were giving him injections.
It seems like something more
going on. But how do you eat fries and Pringles? Who lets their child eat that? But I guess he's 14 or 17.
Parent, I guess.
Parents is probably working.
But it's still what you provide, what you put in the house. You know what I mean? But
you're right. So parents could control it by not purchasing it.
Kevin Smith is a noted Hollywood director and writer and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
He had a heart attack and he did this. I would note the book if I could remember the name of it, but I can't. So he wanted to go on this diet.
Okay.
And so the diet was like for the first 2 weeks, you could eat potatoes.
Okay.
Any kind of potato, any potatoes, how much you wanted, but you couldn't put nothing on it. Just raw potatoes, right? This
No
is not
butter?
raw. You can boil them, bake them. You couldn't season them. And so part of that was to like recalibrate, because he said he thought it was stuff that he didn't like, and he was like, "No, you're being trained not to like it." So this was supposed to be something that kind of like cleanse his palate, this process. But the thing I want to bring about what he said was important. He was like, man, when they first told me, he's like, "Oh, I'm all down for this. I can eat potatoes, blah blah, whatever." And so he was like, what he realized over the time was that he didn't really like potatoes all that much, as he liked the salt and the sugar and the whatever.
He liked everything that went on it. Like me with coffee. I don't like coffee. I just like the caramel macchiato.
Yeah. So he was just, he's saying like, that like it's like one of those foods that makes you, you eat it because you think you like potatoes, but you may not. You just like that sort of thing. And I guess just tying it into this kid's situation is that this is one of those examples of why it was so important that Michelle Obama had her initiative with the school lunches, to at least give kids that option to have fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that, and not to just focus on things that may be bad for you. It's, because we just think about,
because that stuff is cheaper,
high blood pressure, diabetes and stuff. But here it is, this kid went blind. Supposedly he went blind from this, and if that's the case, which I find silly. Which when I say silly, I mean like this. I watch these things that'll talk about starving kids, and they'll bring these starving people, like people that are in famine. They bring them rice and wheat and oats and stuff like that. Like, they don't talk about fresh fruits or any of that kind of stuff. But
Just
you don't
fillers.
hear about people going blind in those hunger situations.
Yeah, so that is something to think about.
It's just kind of weird, but God bless them.
How about that? Yeah, hopefully they can reverse that. That'd be a good thing.
I had a couple of jokes, but they're kind of off color, so I'll let it go.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Oh, you feeling Dave? You're channeling your inner Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
That's what's happening.
Because there's something else they tell boys that'll make them go blind.
What?
But
oh yeah, I think I heard that. I heard that. Do that too much. Yeah, read between the lines.
It had nothing to do with his diet.
How about that? How about Wendy Williams? She felt that Nene Leakes and Tamar stood her up. They was all supposed to go out. I know you don't care, but I'm sitting there like, they probably needed to.
You know what's funny though?
What?
That sounds like the worst trio of people to ever hang out.
Right, so that probably was a good thing.
It was probably like if the government probably interfered and like, listen, if the three of y'all get together, the world's going to end because y'all all three parts of the most terribleness ever.
That's crazy. It's hilarious.
Like, just think about
I was sitting there looking. When I seen it, I was like, that probably was a good thing.
Could you imagine waiting on that table?
Oh, gosh.
Could you imagine?
I don't know. That would be interesting. How about the mom who mistakenly shoots her daughter?
I heard about that.
That was awful. And then what's so interesting is that, like, I had posted it on the Facebook page. Then you had people with the angry face, but they didn't even read the article. You just read the headline.
Yeah.
And the problem was the child came and wanted to surprise the mom from college.
Yeah.
And she thought it was an intruder. So I'm so grateful that she didn't kill him.
And the police, they decided not to charge the mother because they said, based off the circumstances of what happened, she didn't know the daughter was coming home. Mm-hmm. It was dark. Excuse me. And then she, pretty much like, what would you do if you had an intruder? And so I guess she did what was right. But I think that she did what was within the law for her to do. But I think the issue is that if you're going to shoot somebody, you might want to at least see who you're shooting. You know what I mean?
I don't know, though, because if I'm sitting there and I know it's just me, I'm not expecting somebody, you coming in, but you would think, well, you have to fire off a warning shot first. That's supposed to be it, right? To fire off the warning shot?
Dave Chappelle said, bird shot, buckshot, bird shot, buckshot. Then it turned Jamaican. Buckshot, buckshot, buckshot.
And that's it. Look at him. Listen, live studio audience, you got to see it. Remember I kept telling you have to see it?
You didn't watch it yet?
No.
Oh, we were going to watch it the other day, too, and I don't know. Things. We went.
You're gonna watch it again?
We went to get an E-roll instead.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, all right, let's talk about Hurricane Dorian.
Yeah.
Listen, now
your boy. Your president was like, "Hey, it's going to hit Alabama,"
right?
And then trying to cover it up like, "No, we were told early on," and then get like, "Nah, no one was saying that they ever had a chance
hitting Alabama."
Yeah.
Now I tell you what's interesting though, it didn't show up on time, so they talking about something. Now we naming hurricanes Dorian. That sound like Darian. That sound like
CP time.
Yeah, it's on CP time. That's what they said. Talking about something. That sound like somebody black. The hurricane black.
That's crazy.
I said, and then somebody posted on there talking about something. They said that it was just at a standstill. It's like it's probably talking. I said, that is so funny. People are so humorous. I tell you that.
Yeah, I seen a picture of somebody drove their SUV down to the beach, and supposedly they abandoned it. They don't know who it belongs to. I'm sure they probably ran the license plates or whatever. It was like, who would drive down here during a hurricane? I'm like, somebody who wanted their car purposely swept into the ocean.
Right. It was totally intentional.
Come on, man.
Totally intentional. All right, tell me about the Politricks real quick.
Well, the biggest thing right now in the world is that, as you know, Great Britain, they have a new prime minister. Is what's his name? Boris Johnson, I believe his name is, and he looks crazy. He looks like, he looked crazy. We thought Trump's hair looked crazy. His hair looks like he looks like he's like Trump's English brother or something. Like, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, he was a hard Brexit person who before with Angela Merkel. What was that? You know what I'm saying? No. I'm trying to think of the former prime minister. I think Angela Merkel. I don't think that's her name though. But anyway, the former prime minister, they kept pressuring her to make a deal to get out, and so she was just like, "Hey, I can't do this without the time to be able to do it right." And then she resigned as prime minister, and so he was then elected to be prime minister. And what ended up happening was there was a vote that was 327 to 301. And it was against his plan. And some of the people in his party voted against his plan. And so now there's a couple things he can do, which I think is underway right now, is have another vote for to figure out the issue, or go back to the EU and ask for more time to come up with a plan. And his thing is that he didn't want to ask for more time. But so the issue is that if they're going to make a hard break or not. And it seems like the country doesn't want to make that hard break.
Okay.
So right now I think that's probably the most valuable story in the world to see how that turns out. Because there's a lot in this, except like it's not just them going back and just having it's them saying like how they're going to handle immigration issues, all this other stuff. Like it's gonna have a lot of impact in that part of the world. So we'll see.
Now tell me about his assistant that he fired. Tiffany
President Trump.
Yes.
President Trump fired his assistant because I guess she was talking bad about the family.
Talking to the media. Yeah, up here had some drinks and go say, look at me. I told you to tell me about it, but I had to get the
off the record or something.
Ain't nothing off the record. Yeah, what you talking to the media?
Hey.
Off the record. And then talking about he don't like taking pictures with the one daughter because she kind of overweight.
I forgot that he had that other daughter.
Look, clearly it might be some truth to that.
I forget. I really forget. I mean, because you never did she get a job? She don't. I can see why Barry don't get no job. He's like elementary school, but like why ain't she a grown up? Ain't she? Why doesn't she give a job? Mm-hmm. Like you never hear about her. She lay low.
Yeah, but that's
She's assistant. Like the other Hilton sister. Remember, it was the Hilton sister.
It was only Paris, and then you be like, and her sister.
No, it was her sister. It was she used to be
Paris and who else?
Whatever her sister's name was, and then she kind of just dipped out. Like she was like, yeah, this is getting too crazy. Like my family got millions of dollars, and somebody need to leave. Somebody need to be in control of these millions of dollars at one point.
So I'll just sit and chill.
I'm just gonna get out the nonsense.
Well, I'm thinking that the assistant might have something to that because she was saying why he doesn't like. Taking pictures with her because she just be chilling.
Well, my thing is this.
But you got to know, off the record, you sipping, sis. There's nothing off the record with the media. Go ahead. Except shop talking to be off the record.
She should have just not said anything.
She kind of got loose, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like, how loose did you get?
She had to get very loose.
I wonder who was buying the drinks.
Here's my thing, though. You say who was buying?
Yeah, it might be a lot.
Another round. But my thing is, why would you even go? Or did you want to be done? Because to me, I just feel like you can't be that reckless.
I wonder if she didn't even really know. Like if she just happened to be talking to some people and,
about the family, talking about he likes her a lot
or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know either.
She did the wrong thing though.
Okay, so who do we have in the running for the Democrat?
Everybody.
The same? You still got the same? People. You still picking the same people?
Oh, who I would like to see?
You didn't switch yet?
I want Bernie to win. Like, ideally...
You wanted Bernie before.
Yeah, ideally if Bernie wins, I think Bernie will be the one that's gonna live up to getting the things done.
Okay.
I think he'll get... Not to say that the other ones wouldn't, but I just got more faith in him to just get it done.
Okay.
That, like, it just... Like, I don't see... Like, I think he's at that point in his life, he's like, hey, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to die trying if I don't get it done.
Okay.
Not like die because he old.
Right, you see me looking like,
Yeah, not because he old.
I think he got a few good years in him. Mm-hmm. And he's still fighting to the end. So we know he'll have your vote again.
Oh, yeah. And hopefully he can make it that far. Yeah, he has my support.
Okay. All right, now let's get to these shop talk questions.
That's early on.
Question of the week. When we're dealing in relationships, here we go, because we got to hurry up. Dealing in relationships, respect or permission if your spouse decides she wants to cut her hair and change it. Just change her hair. So you met her. Y'all were together. You loved her hair. And then she just came home and it was gone. Do you think that she should have mentioned it to you? Or?
I think it's her choice. But I think that she should be open to whatever criticism she receives, positive or negative.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So if you don't like it and she comes back.
Like if she gets her hair cut a certain way, I'm like, dang, her head is huge. I never realized it until,
Until now.
Like her head, it make her eyeballs look funny or something like that, where it's yeah.
Then you'll become the bad guy.
Not really. I don't think so.
Okay. Wisha, you got anything to add, live studio audience?
Well, I think you said a marriage.
A marriage.
I think when it's a marriage, no longer are you yours, nor is he his. So that should be something that's discussed, because if he likes long hair and you've always had long hair, then you run to the shop and cut it off, and now he's not attracted to you. He always liked long hair. Why would you do that? And vice versa. If he did something like that and it's clear that she likes this about me and that he changes it, why would you do that? How about me? That's what I liked on you. And so if the two are one, those are, I would say it's in that line of respect. And because I respect you and I know that you like long hair and I'm tired of the long hair or whatever, I want to change, we're going to talk about that.
I've seen where couples went natural. The woman had gone natural. She cuts her hair off. She goes natural. She don't want the relaxer anymore. The husband did not know. Then she's upset because the husband is looking somewhere else. What's your thoughts?
Well, it's kind of like you get that image. And I hate to say it like this, but I think when you start dating somebody, you buy into a brand.
It's the truth.
You know what I mean? And like sometimes a person can make some changes and it'd be like, oh, it may have enhanced things.
Okay.
Then sometimes people make some changes and you'd be like, yeah. And let's take this beyond just the superficial ones. Sometimes people's attitudes change.
What, they lose a lot of weight?
Oh.
They lose a lot of weight.
Like my mom be cracking me up. She was like, I don't understand why people when they lose a whole bunch of weight, they cut off their hair and dye blonde.
They like Buddy Love out this month. Spandex, nothing but spandex.
It's like, why did they do that? You know what I mean? I thought that was hilarious when she told me.
That's a whole new.
Because you start thinking about it.
New me, a whole new me.
You be like, okay, there you go.
And then they want to know, like, wait a minute, what happened? Interesting. Now let's talk about this crowdfunding. Have you guys ever heard of that?
Yeah, like GoFundMe?
No. Crowdfunding.
Like, what is that?
They are now doing crowdfunding weddings.
Well, let's break down crowdfunding first.
The crowdfunding is the crowd funds the place. So you are charging a cover charge to come to somebody's wedding.
Well, technically you do.
Look at him. Look at him. I know, listen, when I said this, I said he is going to be for it. He is going to be for it. He is going to be for it.
But the thing
you do pay per plate, yes.
But the thing about it, though, like if I invite you to, well, not at
you're
my
the
wedding,
you're the host.
Wedding.
When you are getting married, you two are the host.
Okay, so what do people do when they usually get married? They send you an invitation, and they send you this other piece of paper.
What is that other piece of paper?
It has something to do with registration. You were registered at.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like
a registry.
You're implying that there's a fee, that there's some sort of gift that should be given by you being registered, right?
Okay.
You can go to this fine retailer and get me this.
Okay. So I guess it is, huh? Would you rather just say, okay, well, just charge me the $15 cover charge?
It's an unwritten rule, but I would tell you like this. Usually I'm a money person, not a gift person.
Okay.
And like, so if I give monies, I usually give monies based off of like, A, who the person is to me. Then B, what the event is. Like, is it a brunch? Is it lunch? Is it dinner? And it's usually dinner. Okay. And so how much would I say dinner they would probably buy? You know, so usually if a person gets something catered, they get usually like maybe 2 meats. And that's usually like chicken and beef or something like that, or maybe fish or something. So when you look at most catering places, like those menus, that's about a $13 to $15 per plate. So I try to give like about 20 per,
to 25.
20 to 25 per person that's like with me. Or if it's somebody else, if it's somebody where it's like, if it's somebody that I should go beyond that, then I will.
Okay. Now tell me this. You're invited to a party and you have stipulations, and your stipulation says no children, or for a reception, permission or respect.
Well, I think the thing is, if you say to me like there's no, this is the thing I don't understand about that. People will invite the whole family. So if you invite the whole family, extended family, then who's to watch the children when most people have extended family watch children? Like, it's not like you got like this babysitter that's unrelated to the family. Some people do though, I guess. You know, they pay Jane to come over and watch the kids for a few hours, I guess. You know what I mean? I guess that happens in other places.
I had an adult reception, and my mother had a room for the children. I said children just for her.
Yeah. Because like what I was saying is like, let's say I'm in a situation where like, let's say I have a newborn.
So okay, don't bring your newborn. Listen, I had somebody that came, and guess what happened? You can hear that baby crying, but send them in the back and reserve way in the back. But why do you feel comfortable if this is my party and this is what I'm saying, and it's not like I'm not giving you permission. I think it's just disrespectful. If I'm telling you, here's my invitation, no children, why would you bring a child? How about you don't make it?
Because I think people's definition of that is different. Because first of all, I'm thinking like this. If I got a young child, if I got like a newborn or something like that, and I'm like, everybody else in the family is going to that event, then it's a high probability that I'm not going to probably go. Okay. Because I don't think I want to leave my kid with someone, just a random, to go out to a party. So I regret,
or to go to a reception or anything, whatever.
So I regretfully decline your invitation because I don't have.
How do you feel? Okay, so you won't feel any kind of way about it?
No, because
what about you? Live studio audience.
I think that when it comes to that type of situation, like you said, when you're inviting the family and extended family, and when it's that close like that, and you already know that, well, everybody's going to be in here. Matter of fact, some of this family is actually a part of this wedding, and it's the children, and especially if you're going out of town.
Make the children a part of the wedding.
Well, you can do that, or there's an exception to the rule, but you contact the people that sent you the invitation.
To get permission.
Right. Let them know the situation, because that means that everybody will be thinking, well, I can go and call and tell them to come on and bring their children.
And you know that happened.
Yeah. So
listen, that actually happened.
Permission, but there are exceptions.
There's
exceptions.
And I think sometimes the exception is that if you look at it as a per plate model, you have people that are like, well, my baby's on Similac, so they don't really fall into the added extra cost of the thing or the extra seat that's being taken
but
away.
All of a sudden, your child
now
is eating a piece of chicken.
Well, if your child, I'm saying, if you are at the formula stage, what I'm saying is birth to one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think when I hear no kids, I'm thinking you don't want any kids that's running around. Like, to me, the toddler, the 3-year-old to 10.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, 3 to 10, that's what you don't want them ripping the dresses.
This is the problematic children.
Okay.
You know, you might have that kid that's like too young, and so he starts running around the party and all that other stuff, and you're like, hey, would somebody sit that kid down, or, you know, or whatever.
And usually it's somebody else that's,
okay.
It's usually somebody else that whose child it is, somebody else is babysitting them. Think about it.
Yeah. So
it's just like I don't know. I think that is just like last week the audience said, get permission to say it's okay. Because I went to a wedding and these people came from out of town and they brought their children, and the people that live locally, they was like, oh, kids allowed here. They went and got there from the house. Quit playing. Quit playing. All right, Roogle, you got it.
Well, yeah, so I think on that note, there's a couple of things you got to consider. You got to consider, A, do you have permission to bring your child if it's an event where it's all family extended going to something like that? You know, because my thoughts would be, hey, well, if it's not an event, if you know that there's a lot of children in your family and you do an event that's adults only, then you realize that you alienated a lot of people from being able to come. I won't say alienated, stopped a lot of people from being able to come. If it's a family gathering. Now, if it's just me, I'm being invited to something and I'm not related to these people, then that's different, because then I can have a relative watch my child.
That's why I said it depends on the circumstances, and I think you need to get permission. I don't think that you just take liberties like that.
Nope.
So absolutely get permission, because there are times when the circumstance may open that door to say, oh, not a problem. And they're watching the children. They're making sure that the children are not running around, knocking over cakes, stepping on the bride's gown, ripping it. And there's a lot of things that happen on why people got to the place that they stopped wanting children at receptions. And it's because the people who rented the place, the bride and the groom, became the babysitters because everybody else is partying. So the children would be running around having a good time, but then the bride's dress gets ripped, the cake table gets knocked over, juice is spilled on the floor, all sorts of things tend to happen like that.
And this might be an opportunity for someone who has a venue to think about that. Like, maybe I have an extra room off to my ballroom that you can have a daycare service during the event.
There are some weddings cool. When people are traveling, sometimes the bride and the groom will make provisions by having a room right there at the facility. If there's a hotel or whatever, they have a room, and then they have a designated couple of people that are designated to actually care for the children.
Cool.
Yeah. And because sometimes people, they have those situations where the entire family does come and they don't just let anyone watch their children. And if they are traveling, they're not just going to leave their child at home, So with anybody, just with the baby, say, no, we're going out of town. So the whole family comes. And so sometimes you will have it where the bride and the groom will make provisions by having a hotel room right there.
Yeah.
And have childcare.
And the crazy part about it is sometimes you ever experience that where you're like, oh, if this child won't be an issue because they're pretty well behaved, but then something happens when they're at an event that makes you be like, oh no, they're not well behaved. You know what I mean? Like nothing was going on. You know, that's why they were well behaved. You know.
Listen, that happens with adults as well. You know,
Man.
you have them in one setting and you figure they're well behaved, and then they're in another setting, and it's like, wait a minute, what happened?
Man, which let's kind of
Uncle Gus with his fire.
Yeah, let's
backyard fire.
Let me ask you
on the grill.
Let me ask you this. Okay, talking about the family dynamic and an argument in the family, is it ever okay for a family member to bring, if you're in a heated debate, I'm going to call it a debate, a heated debate with a family member, and then they bring up something from your past or some past event to sort of down you, but not necessarily, it doesn't address the issue at hand, but they use that as their way of escaping. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think that it tells you the mindset of the person, which isn't very grandioso, because it says that I don't have anything to fight with, so I'm just going to pick up whatever gravel is around. I'm just going to throw anything.
I got it. And so, another question on this note: Should family ever, if family falls out with each other, is family required to be cool with one another? Me and you have an argument, we don't see eye to eye, and I'm like, well, forget you then. And you be like, forget you then too. And then, like, to y'all be forgotten.
By whom? Forgotten by whom?
Each other.
But you know what? People have disagreements, especially in families, but you iron it out, you come back together, and just say maybe take some time, healing time. But that doesn't mean the rest of the family turns against that person, and you shouldn't expect them to. You're making the rest of the family, I mean, if this is what you're asking, where should the rest of the family choose sides? Absolutely not. It's not their stuff.
Yeah.
So they're in neutral ground with trying to actually bring peace, hopefully, and give you some healing time over here, give you some healing time over here to mend it, because situations should be mended.
I think like this, though. I kind of feel like,
especially when they're about nothing, when you really get to the root of it.
Yeah, but usually all arguments is sort of like nothing. But I think more or less is the audacity of the person to injure you in such a way that would cause you to stop talking to them. For example, is there, if you have an argument with somebody, let's say like this, I kind of feel like the situation we're talking about is that, hey, look at it like this. How does this person impact your life? And if you can measure that impact on being something that you value, then you apologize versus for example, I put it out there, I had a falling out with a family member, and it's probably been 10 years since I've probably spoken to that person.
So why are you allowing that to...
Because I don't care about them. Like, I really thought about it when it first happened, and I was just like, I don't see how they positively impact my life, so I just choose not to be bothered. But the only issue is that it doesn't impact my life, but the other people around me feel a certain way about it.
Well, it sounds like an unresolved issue, because if you're talking 10 years, that means there's something still in you. Remember, we talked before about the stuff that's left on the back burner still has the potential to burn the house down because it's still simmering.
Yeah.
And so just because you left that pot back there and you have the eye turned down low, that's still a fire. And so you could leave it there and think that it's going to not burn the house down, but it can dry out and it can still burn the house down. So I think that some things are unresolved issues. If you have resolved to the place that they don't mean anything to me, it is resolved in me. I just don't see that they're pouring anything into my life, and it's probably going to be another issue. But I'm okay with the fact that they are who they are. I respect them as being who they are, and I'm going to be who I am.
Yeah.
And you can still say hi and have peace with that. But you don't have to interact. Hey, let's go to the store together.
Yeah.
Hey, let's be buds. But just the basic respect of saying, you're who you are. Hi, how you doing?
Oh, all they will get is a hi.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because well, and I'm not even saying, when you just said that, you said it with a curve of uncomfortable resolve. That means it's not totally resolved in you, and that's going to eat at you. That's going to bring the sickness in you.
Because I'm a child. Okay, I'm a child of the '80s, and like there was certain messaging given us saying like, hey, if there's a bad element, you make a choice about if you want it. Sometimes it's the company you keep that cause you more trouble than what you do.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to go to their house. You don't have to go roller skating with them.
Exactly.
I'm not saying do that.
So if I choose to say that I don't see how this like relationship benefits me in any way, shape, or form, and that okay, like this is a bad element, and I move on. You know what I mean? But the issue is like, I mean, people always say like the phrase forgive and forget, right? Or how is it? No, when something bad happens, yeah, it's forgive and forget, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can forgive, you can forget, but does that mean that you have to go back?
No, I'm not saying go back. Listen, I already told you, you don't have to play with them. There's a whole lot of people you don't have to play with, just going down the street with that. But there's just a mutual thing. If you are there in that space and you have that total eye contact, you're talking about a family member that you're going to probably be in close proximity with them. It's just hi. I mean, but if you are carrying it and wearing it, that's a weight on you. If people talk about what they care about, do you understand? Uh-huh. So when you say I don't care anything about them, you wouldn't talk about it.
Well, I think the thing that happens sometimes in these situations is that it's not you having a conversation about that person, but it's other people who have vested interest in the reconciliation that provide weight that you don't even validate, or the like weight that you don't even recognize as being weight because like you're far beyond what they want to see happen. And I think sometimes there's this element that family has to stay tight-knit even when there's like people who tragically do the same thing over and over again that cause rifts within the family within the family.
I would say when you have unresolved issues, those issues can still cause more issues because they're unresolved. There'll be this wall. There'll be this attitude. And people can feel that. And so if you want to have peace, you have to get peace with the situation and with yourself. They are not who you want them to be. Uh-huh. They are not you. And when it comes to a place of respecting them for who they are, it's because you know who they are. This is just who you are, and that's okay. Hi, how you doing? But I don't have to have you over for dinner. I don't have to come to your place for dinner. But we can be in, if it's family, we could be in the same room. I've already spoken. I've said hi. So, and the thing of respect is I respect you for being who you are, and just respect me for being who I am. And we're at peace. But you have to give a situation peace. You can't let that thing on the back burner burn the whole house down.
So let's say this, since we were talking about parties before. If you are on a high and by status situation, whatever, with a family member, should they get an invitation to that party?
If it's my party?
Yeah.
I don't have to invite people to my party at my house that I don't want there. It's my party.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's my party, and that's my choice. Who I have at my place.
Great. All right, yeah. I feel the same way. If
it's a big family reunion styled cookout and I'm saying I'm going to host it at my place, well, it's a big family style event, and I'm hosting it at my place, then the family's going to be there. And I can't say such and such can't come because it's a family function.
So therefore, never host a larger event for the family.
If you don't want parts of the family to come. There's parks and such for that. Or somebody else, another family person that has neutral ground.
Yeah.
But if you don't want them at your house and it's a family function, then you have to do the right thing. If you want to be right, you got to do what's right.
Uh-huh.
So, so everybody can come, but Joe Blow over here, or Susie Lou. No, that's a part of the family. So if it's a family event and you're hosting it, then the family has to be welcome to come. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, why would you host the family event unless you want to be able to stick a dig in that person that you have issues with? And that means that's an unresolved issue that you're having, and you are allowing it to tarnish who you are, and you're not being who you are. You're actually giving that person power over you because you're being reactive. Mm-hmm. So, and if you are an individual of peace, then you would walk in peace. Otherwise, if you're walking in anger and hostility, that speaks volumes of what you are carrying and who is actually governing you.
Look, this doesn't work if I shake my head. I gotta say something. I shake my head. I'm in agreement with that. I'm in agreement with that. Since we're talking about who's invited and who's not invited, I thought that'd be an interesting spin on the invitation of children or not to come to the party. Because sometimes there's certain people where, like, I see people not invite certain people to events.
Yes.
And maybe it's work. Maybe there's reason for that. But I just kind of feel like I looked at a situation on a spectrum, like, and this could be maybe the wrong thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. When it comes to people, when it comes to reconciling with someone, I really look at the value that person plays in my life, because usually people that you value a lot, you don't really find yourself in a situation of turmoil with. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really, like, unless there's something that person outwardly did that was wrong. But then if it's that type of wrong, then it really doesn't matter anyway. But it just seems like good relationships thrive because usually things don't interfere with those things. You're able to talk through those events and those sort of things. And so I look at it like on a spectrum. It's like there in the middle, there's you as a person who says, hey, I want to, should I reconcile or should I not reconcile? And then on the ends of the spectrum, it's the good and bad things that happen to people in life. So let's say that you want to reconcile with somebody, but they end up getting $10 million before you were going to do that reconciliation with them. Should you reconcile with them? So they come into money.
The reconciliation has to come within yourself.
Yeah.
So before you can reconcile with anybody else, you have to settle that within yourself.
But let's say you came to terms with that. You were like, man, you know what? Tomorrow I'm just gonna go and talk to such and such because I think we're all, this issue has gone too far. But then overnight, that person becomes a millionaire because they hit the lottery or something like that. Should you still reconcile with the person?
Well, if that was your plan to reconcile, period, that was your plan to reconcile. It doesn't have anything to do with the money that they now have. And you shouldn't feel anyway if they gave everybody that's in the family some money but you, because they didn't know that you were just now going to reconcile anyway. But the reconciliation has to be within yourself.
Okay.
And then once you have done that with you, the timing to reconcile with that individual will present itself.
Yeah.
But, you were speaking of events, and I just think I've gotten to the place that I don't have to be at everything. And those things that I don't get invited to, I don't feel slighted per se, because sometimes it's a number of people that can come. And so when you talk about who and who not, and I think that some places I'm not supposed to be there. But if there is somebody at the event that I'm supposed to meet, I will still meet them by another way. If there's a place that I'm supposed to be, I will be there. And it may not be from invitation over here, but I may have gotten an invitation from here. And I will end up at the place if I'm supposed to be there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Feel you. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's a complicated issue for me because part of the issue for me is that I just kind of feel like why put energy into something that like is dead in your eyes.
Well, the energy is being placed in the dislike and the discomfort.
Well, no, I mean,
that's energy is being taken and absorbed right there.
But I think that
with the
phrase,
harsh feelings that you have.
But I think that phrase, forgive, forget, needs another piece on there. And I think that other piece is that you don't have to go back to what things were.
Usually you don't go back because when you get to a place of real forgiveness, that means there has been growth within yourself. And you don't denounce your growth by going back. So you receive your growth, the forgiveness is there. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's when you have not grown that you can waddle back into that mud and stir it up because the water's looking kind of clear, but you stir it and then the mud comes right back up. But when growth comes, that's why you're able to forgive. And no, you do not denounce your growth by going back to a puddle of mud and stirring in that water to make it mud again. You don't do that. Growth brings about that forgiveness. Because real forgiveness, there's going to be growth. Mm-hmm. You're not that same person. You're not at that level anymore. Because you see things differently. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
And just be thankful that you are not that individual. Okay. And that you are who you are.
Cool.
That's what the journey's all about.
All
Constant
right.
evolving into growth. You know, that's why a lot of people will say, well, I got to get to that. Well, are you even trying?
I got to get to that.
Yeah, are you even trying?
But they may mean I got to get to that.
Well, I got to grow.
Not get that on their agenda.
Maybe it'll happen one day. No, but are you even trying? And that trying means that you are pressing to be a better who you are, instead of just holding on and dragging along a rope that has probably, hey Doc King, that has probably frayed all the way because the other person has already dropped their end of the rope. And you dragging along, and now you only have when you look back at the rope, the whole thing has frayed because you've been dragging it so long, this anger and hate and bitterness that it's frayed all the way down the road, and now you have this knot in your hand because the whole rope is gone. And you're the only person that's holding it because the other person left it. They let it go a long time ago. It's in your personal growth.
Yeah. Talking about that, I was driving today, and I happened to listen to...
from one of Ron King's and I's conversation that we had.
Oh, okay. About the knot.
About the rope.
Yeah.
I have to give him credit for that because that was a good analogy.
Yeah. So I'm listening to this. I'm listening to this radio show, and they talk about this comment that Steve Harvey made, and his comment was that you shouldn't. It's kind of like you shouldn't have a plan B, because if you put energy into two plans, you're going to probably fail at your plan A. And somebody said, so I guess somebody said to him, they said, well, what if you ultimately fail at your plan A? Then what do you do? And so his remark, as I can recall it, was that you would never fail at it if you put all your energies into that.
Because it would continue to evolve. Okay, that
Yeah.
didn't happen. Okay, what else we got over here? So it would still be plan A.
Yeah, so your plan A
evolving into something else.
Yeah, so your plan A would turn into another plan A.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
that makes sense.
I think it makes sense, but it kind of like for example, my son, he was asked, we were talking about him and he graduated and stuff like that. We were talking about he said at one time he came to me and he said that he wanted to be a chef or something like that. And I said, well, get this degree in which you're going to get it in, and you can always go back and learn and pursue the cooking piece. Meaning that the way I saw it from kind of being in that business myself was that the part that makes food ventures fail is that some people are really good at food and not good at business. So if you know the business end of it, then you can go and work to you can go and work and make the food end of it work, and then maybe have a more sustainable model than most people. And so it was kind of like we were discussing did I give him a plan B instead of him pursuing the plan A.
That's what it sounds like, because if his passion and his heart was right there at the culinary school, then that's where his passion was going to be, not at counting dollars. His passion was going to be, how can I be a better cook, and how can I better present the food, and is this something that I really want to do? I thought I did, but maybe now that I've gotten into this, I really don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. And then you can build on from there. But where is your passion at right now? You know, and this is where it is. I say that because you used your son as an example. I'll use my daughter as an example. She wanted to be a cosmetologist. Okay, well, let's do this right now, because you have the opportunity to get this out the way now. And if there's something else you want to do later, then you can do that as well. Yeah. So she did that and went through the cosmetology school. And lo and behold, yep, it was something else she wanted to do. But she did do that. Yeah. You know? And so that's what I would say.
Yeah. So, I mean, that brings up an interesting point, because I kind of feel that if you, along the way, like he had ended up taking some kind of like test to sell insurance or whatever, and lo and behold, the job he took had nothing to do with that, and he's like, I kind of wasted my money a little bit. I was like, well, you never waste your money because you added a credential. You know what I mean? And it's like, even with your daughter's situation, it's like, okay, the avenue of doing that presented itself right then and there. She took advantage of it, and at least had the opportunity to say that, well, that stone did not go unturned. I tried it out. I obviously I succeeded in it because I got the license. I did it, and I moved on to something else. I don't think there's anything wrong with credential building. I just think that in his and I don't even recall the situation, but he recalls it. I don't even recall the conversation, but he recalls it. But it was more or less like, I didn't see him show any interest in cooking prior to him making that statement. From what I remember. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, really? Okay.
You know what's interesting, though? Because his dad liked to cook.
Yeah.
And so if it was something in him that, I like doing this, and I think I want to be a cook as well. And I understand Dad was already cooking. Yeah. So, but I want you to don't cook, because I'm doing that already. You go for business. But Dad, I want to cook. So it's like, okay, you can cook, and then as you are cooking, and you finish the cooking course, and you're going to take this to another level, we need to know the business portion of this as well. And he probably would have said, Dad, I got this baton, and I know you were cooking, and I got this, but if we do this, then we can do this. So I'm going to go back to school to get the business degree, because I got this cooking done, and I got some extra stuff that we can put in this cooking situation. And I think, and let's take it to the next level.
I think I think the situation though for me was that I stumbled into doing that. Like well, let me put it like this: I always cooked because I cooked, but I stumbled into doing it as a business. And that was something where I was prepared on the cooking end, but not really prepared for the whole enchilada of it. Pun is implied. But but I think that was one of the things. It was just one of those things where like, how could it be done better? And knowing that sometimes in order to do it, you have to have. I hate to say to do it right, because I think that's the issue. Is like parents weigh what's the right thing, and sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but you give direction. You can't make them do, but you can give direction. Yeah. You can kind of point them in the right direction, and this would make sense. You would love to be able to make them do what you want them to do, because you know that this is the better way if you do it this way. But yeah.
So we're gonna change it up. We're gonna change it up a little. I heard now you know who Lizzo is, right?
No.
Lizzo is the full-figured rap singer, pop star.
That lady?
Yeah.
That wears the wedding stuff and with no clothes on?
Yeah, Lizzo she's breaking those barriers associated with I will just put out there the European vision of what beauty is, and so she has this song called "Truth Hurts," and I just found out yesterday that this song is 2 years old, but it just became the number one song in the country. And she's been working at this. So you talk about the plan A and working and working and working. But the thing that was funny to me was I thought about it. Like, could you imagine singing the same song for 2 years and then it gets popular?
Some things happen like that. Some things take time.
Yeah.
Some things take time.
The thing is like, now she has to sing that song for probably another 2 years if she doesn't hurry up and replace it with something that's just as valuable.
Do you ever hear of people saying that you were ahead of your time? You know?
Yeah.
And so some things just take time, and it's all in the timing. And then the presentation, it's like, wait, there it is right there. So you may have written it up, like say you like cooking,
yeah,
and you might have come up with a recipe. But right now, what's hot is, maybe peach cobbler. But your recipe has something totally different.
You apple cobbler. You devote to apples.
And then you have a whole generation of people that said, oh, this apple thing is on. And apples are big now. And he did what with the apples? And flat out, there's your recipe.
And then people will argue with you. What's the difference between an apple pie and apple cobbler?
Don't argue with them. It takes two people to argue. Takes the people. A person cannot argue by themselves.
The only cobbler that's legitimate cobbler is peach cobbler.
Yeah, well, you don't have to argue about it. Here, taste the cobbler. You like it, you don't like it. There's no argument.
Yeah.
People argue for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the root of it, it's called, who are you?
Yeah. So look at this. We kind of came full circle. We talked about
litigations. Are you an attorney, really? Maybe you should go back to school so that you could really go ahead and argue because that's what you like to do. So people need to really examine themselves and say, who are you?
And you know what's funny about that when people talk about it like that? Because I've been thinking about that lately. About like an attorney saying, well, people like to argue. I was like, well, is it argument or is it trying to find an absolute? Usually it's an absolute that's in your favor within the law.
Okay, but just like you mentioned about the peach cobbler and the apple cobbler, it's all in the taste buds of the individual that desires either one. Because some people may not like apples and they are partial to peach cobbler. So that's like going back and forth for no reason. There's no argument there.
Yeah.
But if people enjoy going back and forth, you need to find that field that this is what they do there.
So, we're going to change directions a little bit here. Now, lately what's been in the news is this. Big news. Walmart has decided to stop selling. They already had stopped selling handguns in their continental U.S. locations. And now they're going to make that move in Alaska. They're also going to stop selling certain ammunitions. And they have also asked that customers not come into the store armed, even in states where you're allowed to have open carry. What's it? What's the other supermarket? It starts with a K.
Okay.
Kroger has also taken on that same charge as far as like asking customers not to come in with handguns. I think this is all in response to like all the violence that's been going on with the shootings and things like that. How do you feel about this?
Well, personally,
I'm just having conversation.
It's like, okay, we're walking around and everybody's, it's cowboys and Indians. What is this?
Yeah.
What is that everybody's walking around and showing that I got this gun and I'm walking around with this gun, and some people are short fused, and so the first thing you're going to do is grab your gun. There's a lot of innocent people here, a lot of children here, and so what's that all about? What's that all about?
Yeah, and their overall attempts are, I think, because Walmart definitely, they can't help where crazy people want to do crazy things at, but they've chosen their facilities to do these things. I mean, like, people would do these things. So I think it's admirable that they would step up and say that we need to do something to start to control the environment, and that this is the step we want to take so that all customers feel safe. And it's really, I mean, because it's not like it's happening in the store, and thank God it hasn't. But, it's just the issue of that, like, it's becoming, it's an issue because people are attacking places where families are going, where people are going, and it's like, like when you go to the grocery store, and this is kind of silly, but I think it's like really when you have like your best, you're doing the best positive you could be doing, because usually you buying something for somebody. I just kind of feel that this step is a good step. I don't know if it overall solves the issue of what's been happening with the gun violence piece here. I don't think it will do that, but I think that it's good that these organizations are recognizing that people are coming in masses to their stores and that they should feel safe. So it is a good step in the right direction. We're going to play a little music here.
Real slim waist, a made up face, head turns, eyes blurred when she comes in the place. fly girl, a fly girl, a fly girl, a fly girl, girl, fly girl, a fly girl, a fly girl, a fly girl, girl, fly girl, a fly girl,
All right. You know what? What's coming back to schools? Cursive writing.
That's awesome. It should have never left.
Yeah. Should have never left. But it's back.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
It's kind of funny because I remember when I was in school, we did calligraphy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'm glad to hear that there are people with concerns of having home economics come back as well. I'm glad about that. And I'll tell you what else I want to come back.
What's that?
People calling children what they are. Children. Listen, it's like the word children is becoming obsolete.
They call them scholars.
No, they call them kids.
Kids.
Kids are baby goats. And then I'm thinking, okay, but what do you call a baby goat? A baby goat. You call
Dinner.
you call it its definition.
I call it dinner.
Because you're calling children that. And so I'm looking at everything all around. It's just they're not calling children anymore. And that's what they are. They are children. You want them to act like children? How about try calling them a child? As you're looking at stubborn behavior, that's pretty much the behavior of a kid. And you say your words have power. What are you doing to the children?
I never see all these stubborn goats everybody talks about.
Yeah.
I never...
Keep listening to the school teachers.
I just see some goats the other day. They didn't seem stubborn at all to me. Mm. They seem quite cooperative.
Yeah, they're children. That's what they are.
Shoot. So that's coming back. I think that's a good thing. It's sort of because it's really an art form when you think about it. Handwriting, yeah.
Listen, cursive writing is your signature. You won't be able to sign any legal documents without knowing how to write in cursive.
Okay. Well, I think the thing is that as we go back and we have things like the fine arts and kids signing their names and stuff, children, young adults,
thank you.
sign their names.
That's what they are.
It's a renaissance of sorts. But there is, in this day and age, though, there's a lot of work that you can get done without having to actually use a signature. You know. But it's one of those fine art things that you should do. You should learn to do it. It's classy.
All right. Nice. With that being said, lovely people. Okay,
all right.
That is our time. I thoroughly enjoyed you as I do each and every single Saturday. Find you, embrace you, most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people. Shop Talk. Right here on Spreaker.com.